Hello, future bestsellers. We are so glad to see you here. It's so funny with StreamYard because sometimes it goes really fast and sometimes it goes super slow, and you end up like, hello, for like 9 seconds while you're waiting for the little button to hit live. So, anyway, yeah, right? It's kind of fun. I'm in such a good mood today. I love Thanksgiving and I love cooking. And before we went live, I was telling Michelle and Robert about how I'd had this really weird dream about how Michelle was going to come over to my house for Thanksgiving and she was going to bring the turkey and I was going to make everything else. And the fact that I live in Florida and Michelle lives in Texas was of no mind. And Michelle is telling us about this super special way that she likes to cook a turkey. And everyone's very excited, obviously. And then her power went out, which I'm pretty sure is because her power actually did go out last week. And also I was talking with my friend Matt about the super special way he cooks his turkey standing up. And I think I combined all those things into a magical dream. And as I was telling Michelle and Robert before we went live, was that I had a dream that Michelle calls and she's like, my power went out. I can't cook the turkey. Can I cook it over there? And I said, yeah, sure. That's great. And then she says, like, she's just worried about whether or not they're going to let her bring it on the plane. A raw turkey.
You want to hear something funny though? When growing up, my best friend in middle school, they are super, super Southern, and her grandma would fly. We lived in Texas, and her grandma lived in South Carolina, I think.
Yeah.
And she would fly to Texas for Thanksgiving every year, and she would bring a ham on the plane. They called it plain ham. I mean, back in the 90s, I don't know if you could do that anymore, but
you probably can. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can bring some kinds of food on the plane, so maybe you could bring a ham.
Bring a whole ass ham,
and also
under the seat next in front of her.
My kids
X-ray the ham for weapons,
right? My kids and I have like this thing where anytime we go on like a vacation, we always end up in the you know how in the hotel you watch different things than you would ever watch at home, and you think like this is the greatest show ever, but then you don't watch it when you get back. Well, the thing that my kids and I like to watch when we're traveling or on vacation is like this Border Patrol show where you have these Border Patrol agents, customs agents in Spain, which is like one of the largest drug trafficking airports. And they're checking for false papers and they're checking for stuff that shouldn't be in your luggage. But when they send your luggage through the X-ray, it marks like organic material, like a ham. So a lot of times what happens is they put the thing through and they think like, oh, we got a big score. It's cocaína. Azul means cocaína, right? So this is how much we watch it. The little paper turns blue if it's cocaine. But a lot of times they open it up and it's a ham. Or it's some other kind of coffee. Like sometimes when it's coffee, a lot of times they're trying to hide it. I know I've learned a lot from my vacation viewing of Border Patrol. They're the nicest. If you're ever going to get caught as a drug mule, though, it should be. I've watched several of them. Spain is the best place. You're still going to get caught. They're pretty smart, but they're very nice. Like they care about your family situation and why you have to be smuggling drugs. It's sad. It's really sad. Anyway, we are way off topic, so we're going to pick that up. I had a weird dream. Michelle was in it. I imagine it all worked out okay. I don't know how it worked out because I woke
That could be a fun live stream, though, a turkey bake-off between you and Michelle. And
right.
The horror geek is the judge. The most horrible turkey wins, so the standing-up turkey could have a little Michael Myers knife in the wing.
I love that. He would love that. He would totally love that. Yeah. Well, I guess since Matt is the guy who does his turkey standing up, he literally sent me a thing like you put it on a deal, and I don't know what happens. I'm fascinated because I'm always looking for a good way to cook a turkey, but I haven't tried it. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Let's say hi to our friends in the chat, and then we'll quickly do our intros, and we'll just start writing today because this is our last stream of NanoWriMo. I want to hear how everybody's doing with their progress, what they're deciding, right? I think, isn't it the last stream? Oh, it's the 23rd. We might have one more.
Ooh, yeah.
If only.
Whoa, my calendar's way off. Sorry.
It's okay. Oh, we do.
30th.
This is not our last stream. We have one more.
That last desperate attempt to
The last desperate attempt. Okay, so let's say hey to everybody in the chat, and then we're going to start. We're going to do our intros really fast, and then we will start with our sprints. RC Scott is here in the house. Book Eclectics here. Hello. No school today, so I get to enjoy or join in. Yay, Lisa. We are very, very glad we're here this morning. Morning. Someone's collating AWC feedback this morning before the live stream. Very nice. Nicole is here. Nikki, very nice to see you. RC Scott says, doing the thing. Very nice. Lainey's here. So you guys, Lainey is a romance author. She is a rom-com author. She is funny as hell. And I'm in a little RAM author group with her, but we met for the first time in person when I did the RAM conference in Houston. I'm so glad you're here. She is awesome. She is completely awesome. RC, hi from the land of taxes and death. Isn't that pretty much every land? Maybe. Swinton's here. I just accidentally won NanoWriMo. What? All right. She says, I wanted to do it during this live stream, but I got into the flow. The book's not finished, so I'm still sprinting.
Nice.
Well, you know what that calls. We're very proud of you. All right. Very, very nice. Very good job. I'm glad you're still going to stay in sprint. That is awesome. Becca's here. Hello, Becca. We are very, very glad to see you. Cool Gamer's here. All right. Hey, Cool Gamer. Glad to see you. Doll is here. Hello, Doll. We're very glad you're here today. Super glad. Wendy's here. Hey, Wendy. We're very, very glad that you made it today. RC had a dream about eating a giant marshmallow. You're such a dork. Thank you. Mary's back. Mary says turkey's on a plane, new movie. I love that. I'm already envisioning the movie poster right this minute. Very, very nice. Yes. Very good job. Let's see what we've got. Lainey says TSA has a hilarious Instagram feed of all the stuff people try to bring on a plane. God. I would, right? Let me say though, if I were traveling to a non-honey baked ham destination, I would consider it for Christmas Eve.
That was why she did it, and you can get honey baked ham in Texas. I think she just. Meemaw had a special place where she liked her ham, and she was.
She liked it. Well, let me say something, okay? So I used to go to one honey baked ham store, which was always excellent, and then there was another one that's closer to my house, and so now I go there. Except you know what happens? Every year I'm disappointed because it's like they don't really understand the true awesomeness of the honey baked ham, and they often will put it in the bag or in the foil upside down so that the delicious sugar crust is what we pay the big bucks for is all melty and disgusting by the time you get it to your house. It feels like it's such a ripoff, right? And you're like, ah! And it's happened to me twice with this store. And last year I was like, that's it. I'm driving to the farthest. Like I'm going driving to the good store. Yep. All right. I would bring it. If I were going someplace that didn't have a honey baked ham. All right. So Nicole said, or Nikki says, wait, Nicole and Nikki is our other Nikki, right? Hold on. Let me just double check. I don't want to call Nicole Nikki. Nope, it is Nicole. Okay, Nikki. So Nikki says, OMG, my brain does the same thing, jumbles a mix of things that happen today. Yes, that happens a lot. And it's funny too. It's probably just a creative brain, right? For all of us, that we can make all of these weird things make sense. Other people wake up and go, what the hell? But our brains have gone turned it into a nice storyline, right? It's going to get happy ending for all of us. All right. Wendy, not your mama's bodice strippers. That sounds like an interesting rabbit hole. Yes. Yeah. RC. Very nice. Very nice. BookTube Goddess is here. Hello. We are very, very glad to see you. All right. Goddess has given up on Nano, restarting the story that went off the rails real quick because I decided to pants for the first time. All right. You know what, though? Nano is a good time for experimentation. So I think that's awesome. I'm very, very
and those words still count. It's
they
not
do
really
still
starting
count.
over because you wrote a certain number of words. You just pick up with your new story and you take the count forward.
Excellent point, Robert. You can still win it. You're in it to win it. All right. RC is working on release number 3 coming next month. RC has released another book this month, right, RC? Right? Didn't you have another? I think he's doing like a little rapid release thing. I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, there was his double feature.
So drop a link. I think you've got the wrench. If you don't, send it over to me and I'll drop it. Sophia's here. Hello, Sophia. We're so glad you're here. Becca's here. Going for another 5K. What? Did one yesterday. Only need 7K to win Nano.
Hey.
Very, very nice. That is awesome. Hold on. We got to do another one of these because you know what? It's too much fun. Yay! I love that thing.
I love that woman with the quick turning head there. And the,
I know. I so love it. I don't know if you guys remember, like last year I did like a little feature. Was it last year or a year and a half ago? I did a feature for the US Book Show and we got a bunch of authors and we had authors. We did like a game show, Readers Ask Authors. And it was really fun. And I have like a little opener, like a little, it's pretty hilarious. Did you guys ever see it? All right, hold on. I feel like we have to do it. Let's see if we can do it. Here we go.
From Ocean View, the publishing capital of the world, in color, it's your favorite literary game show, Readers Ask Authors. With an extraordinary panel of special guests and your wonderful host, Lisa Daly.
Okay, that was awesome.
So that's what I did. I actually thought about making that like a YouTube feature, but I haven't gotten around to it, but I think it might be kind of a fun thing. We actually had a blast. It was totally hilarious. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our 5-minute warm-up sprint because it is NanoWriMo and time is wasting. When we come back, we'll talk about what we are working on today. So you guys, let us know what you're working on in the chat. Let me go ahead and pop up that 5-minute timer. You guys are going to be so proud of me today because I actually did it ahead of time. What? All right, here we go. Okay, everybody. Let's get our documents out and our giant bottles of water and do our finger stretches or our brain stretches or whatever else you need to do to get rolling today. We're going to start the timer with 5 minutes and we will be back to chat when that ends. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, sprint. That's helpful. All right. Fantastic. How did everybody do?
Good.
All right. Fantastic. Very, very glad to hear it. So, what are you guys working on today? Let us know in the chat. Theo Savvy's here.
Hey.
Oh, late but great.
Hello.
Great to see Michelle again. Haven't heard her and Rosa in a minute. Enjoying that new gig, I see. Very, very nice. Very nice. So glad to see you today. All right. Ooh, look who else made it in. Hi, Shannon. Morning, everyone. Made friends with the like button. Thank you. You're so sweet. We really love that. All right. So let's talk about what are you guys working on today, and how are you doing with Nano, if applicable. All right. So, Story Detective, tell us what's going on with you and your Nano journey this month.
Well, my Nano journey has a little less than 12K to go, and I'm hoping that I'll actually finish this year. And that's what I'm working on today. Awesome. Today, I need to make a big leap because the rest of the week is going to be Thanksgiving and not much.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are feeling that way today. So, yeah, absolutely. Good for you. Very, very nice. How about you, Michelle? How are you doing?
I am good. I am working on it's a ghostwriting thing. I was actually kind of worried about this because it's a middle grade fantasy series. It's going to be 4 books, and I'm writing book 3 right now. And it's great, and I love the author and I love the premise, but book 2 is one of the things I was working on earlier this year where I totally burned out.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the problem is that we outlined it, and then I got halfway through the draft and realized this book is going to be like 10,000 words longer than we had banked for it. And it worked out fine, and I was paid for the work I did, but it just turned into like, this is never going to end. So I was like kind of dreading writing book 3, but honestly, it's been a pleasure. I've started it last Monday, and I'm already closing in on 20,000 words.
Look
and
at you.
It's been like genuinely a pleasure to work on every morning. So I don't know why. I thought my mindset was going to be totally borked. but
it's the opposite.
Yeah. So it's going really good.
That is fantastic. Well, I had decided to take this week off except for today's writing sprint, just because I feel like I've just been like working like a dog for like a long time.
Yeah.
And I really am trying to be very cognizant of, and I feel like I'm still sort of climbing back from burnout. Mm-hmm. So my plan was to try and finish the hockey romance by the end of NanoWriMo. And I'm still making excellent progress on that. I'm super excited about it. But if I take this week off and I don't write, it'll be the first week of December. And I'm actually really cool with that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm taking this week off other than today. And I'm also going to take off a couple of weeks at the end of December. So for most of December. So I guess 2 or 3 weeks. Anyway, so I really want to get this done and out the door. The other thing that's really helped me feel very inspired, and I know I'm not the only person who feels this way, but that the cover artist is working on it. So right. And there's something about having going back and forth with the cover artist while you're it sort of illuminates everything and makes it more exciting. Right. And also
the visualization, that's always a motivator.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm very excited. Also, I love the direction that the cover designer is going. We sort of made like a big decision to do an illustrated cover, which is more common for rom-coms, but less common for hockey, romance. And so it's a little bit of a risk, but I also see the market kind of going in that direction. So I feel like I'm going to have either it's going to pay off really well or be a spectacular disaster, which I think is one of the great things about indie publishing is that this is the kind of thing, like if I just sent this off to Penguin, that they would decide if it's going to be an illustrated cover. They would decide if this is an emerging trend or something they want to ignore, you know, and so more risk, but also more rewards. So that's kind of exciting.
Right.
All right, everybody. Let's hear from you guys about what you are working on today. Doll says, got notes from my editor today, so I'm doing the things. Hope your day is going well. Let's see. RC says, let me re-record the voice intro. I can do better. I thought it was fun, but I'm going to take you up on that. All right. Very, very, very nice. Here we go. Oh, it's in my RC is gonna give me the link in my Instagram GM, so I'll drop that in next time. Becca is going for another 5K today. Super excited about that. Awesome. Here we go. I'm gonna go down now. All right. What else is everybody? Let's see. Wendy says, I really hate having to rewrite whole chapters. I feel you on that one. RC made his copy. Lysandra putting the finishing touches on draft 3. Look at you. Very nice. Becca got 100 words in the 5-minute. That is fantastic. Lainey, falling behind on my work in progress, but I have faith the words will come. They will absolutely come. BookTube got us working on middle grade version of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Cool. Very cool. That was such a cool movie, but did you guys feel afterwards like I felt like emotionally exhausted? Like I needed like a decompression chamber or like a sensory deprivation floaty right? Because it was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
Yeah, it was really good though. It was such a good movie if you haven't seen it. Nikki working on Nano Project. I'm at 23,718 words. You've got this. You've got it. Nice. Doll, I'm not sprinting as usual, but after the stream, I have more editorial notes to work on. Fantastic. All right, here we go. Doll. Oh, Lisa, know that you are the author who made me read a romance novel. If that makes me feel any better, it does. I'll spread a little romance wherever I go. Thank you for you. Doll, you are so sweet. And thank you for what you do. That is so sweet. Thank you. You just like made my whole day. CEO said, had big plans for Nano, end up plotting several projects more than drafting one project. Thankfully, Carrow's daily power hour has been helping me get words in. She is killing it over there.
Yeah.
All right.
It can be used for a lot of different things. I mean, aside from working on this project, the story that I had been working on previously, I got up to the 3rd quarter and I was pantsing a lot of it because remember it was a short story I was expanding. Right. And I realized something about myself. I'm pretty good at writing up to the midpoint. And after that, I'm just randomly putting stuff in and pantsing. It wasn't working. So I took that and I broke it down and I plotted everything out more meticulously. So that's actually done too. So this is kind of a nano double feature. And I think it's working pretty well. That's
really cool. That is really cool. Yeah, I totally had a thought and it totally went away. Hopefully it comes back. If not, we're good. Vixen's here. Hello, Vixen. We are very, very glad to see you today. All right, here we go. So Doll's got some more notes. Fixed my book. I actually enjoy fixing things. I know a lot of people don't like editing. I actually love it. I'm a total nerd. All right. Let's do a 20-minute sprint because we have got to get some words in. Yeah. Excited about that. What do we got? All right. Here we go. Okay, everybody. We are going to get rocking and writing today. Oop, and I hit the thing with my elbow, and that means it's time to go. 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right, we are back. So, how did everybody do on that last sprint?
I did well. I don't know how many words, but I was flowing pretty well with it.
Fantastic. That's great. How did you do,
500
Michelle?
for me.
What? That's
Yay.
fantastic. I was watching the clock. I haven't counted yet, but I'll try and do that when we're popping up other stuff. But I also felt really good at, I'd say in the 350 range, looks like to me, maybe 400. All right. So how did you guys do in the chat? I don't even know what this is about. Okay. So Shannon says, don't even want a single chair, but it's great. I feel that. RC says, how about if I just startle you a little? All right. Very nice. So Wendy got a paragraph done and then got lost on Twitter. What are you guys working on today? If you have not already, let us know. Let us know. Doll, somehow I got back right after the sprint ended. Nice. Becca 554. Woohoo. Very nice. Very nice. That is awesome. All right, here we go. Swinton says, it's amazing to me that by this time next year, I will have 3 books released. It's taken years for me to get to this point. Yay. That's awesome.
Awesome.
That is really fantastic.
Yeah.
Shannon says, I felt the same way. I'm at my 1-year anniversary of publishing my first book with 3 out now. I'm in my 40s. Took a long time, but well worth it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Super proud of you. That's amazing. Very, very good job. All right. It is true too. Like there are so many people who say like, oh, I should have started when I was 23, or I should have done this, or I wish I'd started back in 2000, whatever. And the truth is that people start every day, and within a year, 2 years, 5 years, they've got a number of books and they're selling, and so that is really awesome. All right, so Swinton says, this is the 3rd Nano I've run. I started 3 books during Nano. 2 are edited, have covers. This one is due to my copy editor in February. All 3 will be released fall 2023. That's so excited.
Nice.
Very nice.
I think that on the average, there's in Poets and Writers magazine, they have this little thing where they talk to people who publish their first novel, and they always ask how long it took them. The average is 3 years, but there's quite a few that said they took like 5 to 10 years to get that first one done, because it does take time to learn. I remember when I was, learning and working on the comic thing, which probably took a little bit longer since I was working, ungodly hours. But by the time I had some craft knowledge that I thought I can really sit down to do this, it was about 3 years of practice.
That's amazing. That's, yeah. RC says, Swinton, this month makes 3 years for me, a recent grad of Brown University. Yay! That is fantastic. That is really wonderful. So you can start anytime, anytime. Again, I just had like a little, like my elbow can completely control the stream. It can't do anything that I want it to do at the time I want it to do, but all the magic is happening right here. Speaking of magic, let's make some happen and do another sprint, shall we?
We should.
Yeah, I am in.
You've got said how many people start in their 50s and 60s. There's another article in that same magazine every month that has 5 over 50, they call it. People that started writing in their 50s. So there's plenty of people constantly, because I don't have enough life experience to do it before. At least most of us don't. I would be writing science fiction comic book stories, and that's what I did through most of my life. And now when I think about writing novels based on that, some of the urge is still there, but they're not the same stories at all. They're quite different.
Yeah. I mean, I know there are people who start in their 50s and 60s, because I worked with a number of them, in particular at Ocean View. I feel like a lot of mystery writers like have some other career where they're like a cop or a judge or a lawyer or a doctor, but then they start like at some point they're like, okay, I've done all that professional stuff and I want to do the thing I've always wanted to do. And so they write books. But I know a lot of authors that don't start like until they're either well established in a different career or retired even. So yeah, so my guess is that there are a lot. And you know, the answer is it is never too late, right? Because there's always that person like, oh, I wrote my first book when I was 87. And yeah, there you go. RC says I started in my 30s. Very nice. Working my way to a novel. I've done short, novelette, novella, and now graphic novel. So he's like, right? You have one more step. Or will you squeeze something in there? Novel with pictures, then novel. Who knows? All right, that's good. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get rolling on our next sprint. I'm going to do another one, put another one up there. Not a lot of chit chat today, but I want to see if we can't get a crowbar in an extra sprint today. All right, here we go. I love this conversation though. So, I mean, I've been a writer my entire career, and I can't remember how old I was when I wrote my first book. I was still in my 20s, but it was late. I was either in my 20s or my very early 30s. I don't remember, but I could do the math, but I choose not to. A while ago. Yeah, so I wrote it a while ago, and but I'm curious about how about you, Michelle? How old were you about when you started writing?
I wrote when I was, starting in first, second grade. I mean,
well, yes.
But I mean, like stories, like writing books
Yeah.
in my notebooks and all that. I didn't start writing to get published until I was 27.
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
when I really,
Yeah, I think that was about the same. And ditto for me as far as writing when I was like writing books when I was younger and writing. I wrote like, did you like write? I used to write songs.
Yeah.
And I like there's probably some bad poetry in my past.
Oh,
but,
I have a lot of that.
But
I wrote shorter stories and did my homemade comic books, but when I first decided I was going to sit down and seriously write a novel, I was in my 30s, and that became my practice novel that I worked on for about 3 years and did umpteen drafts and decided it was total crap and scrapped it because it wasn't the kind of story I wanted to write anymore.
I totally get that. I love this. RC says Southside Plebe by day, Tail Spinner by night. Becca wrote screenplay. I did do a lot of that. There are a lot of elementary school productions in my past. I wrote screenplays, teleplays only in my 20s. Most of the 30s wasn't like into my late 30s that I started writing books. Love that. Vixen, I did stay at home mom thing and then established as a fitness instructor. Yep. Now in my 40s, I'm ready for the next thing. My first stories I wrote in grade school. I actually was covered on, I think it was USA Today, did a little story about me writing a story about Mr. Gemeinhardt, who was our hunky third grade science teacher that all the girls loved. That was my, right. And that was like my first sort of early start in the power of storytelling. It was essentially a serial. I would write all these little stories about these little mini stories about Mr. Gemeinhardt giving only the girls ice cream, or riding up on a white horse, or I don't know, doing magical potions that made the boys smell bad with his beakers, whatever it was. And like I had like a crowd under the slide every day reading these little stories, and that was like crack for me. Right, like that was the moment, like this is the greatest job ever and I want to do this for the rest of my life. That's
For me it was like second or third grade. We had this every morning, a creative writing thing where we had to fill up like a sheet or two of paper and then read it aloud to the class. And mine was sort of like an adventure. It had different chapters every day, but it held the class's attention. So it was one of the things that I got some kind of attention for aside from my art. And I thought, this is great. people are interested in what I have to say.
Yeah, yeah, right. There is something really, really intoxicating about that. Lainey says, "I've also been a writer my entire career, mostly magazine feature length. My first book was a corporate history for an engineering firm." Did it have any smutty parts, Lainey? That's what I want to know. I love that. That is fantastic. Right. And this is the thing I will say, my first writing job, I mean, I also have made a living as a writer my entire career, but my first writing job was in advertising as a copywriter. And I think it's one of the best training grounds for fiction because you constantly have to write in different voices because you're writing in the client's voice. And I think there's a real, and also it makes you really deadline driven and all that. And there are a lot of smart people that work in advertising. Some of the smartest people I ever worked for were at ad agencies. So I feel like that combination, although you can also get similar things, a similar experience in journalism, but it can be challenging because sometimes you, like, if you work for the same magazine for a long time, it's sometimes hard to get out of the voice of the magazine. But if you write for a bunch of different ones, you get that same awesome experience of having a million different voices. All right. So Vixen says, "Feels like I've come back to what I love doing the most." Oh, I love that. RC, "Before my early 20s, all that could keep my attention was comics. My hyperactive brain needed to slow." That's a fascinating perspective. Swinton wrote short stories and Shakespeare adaptations for theater, but it wasn't until I was bedbound in the hospital in my 60s that I began writing a book. Nano inspired me. What? I love that. That is awesome. Oh my gosh, that's such a great story. Wendy started publishing horrible first drafts over on Wattpad. I bet they weren't as bad as you thought. In my late 20s. I said it so dramatically, and then I'm like, they probably weren't bad. Decided on more traditional publishing in my 30s. Love it. I love it. No smut in the corporate story. I can't believe it. Second grade teacher once asked me to write a story. 3 days later, she's having a meeting with my parents. You know what? I think that probably happened to many of us, but you know what? This sounds like you. Yes. All right. So those are all great. Thank you guys so much for sharing those. Those are amazing. All right, let's go ahead and do another sprint. We've got 20 minutes coming up here on the clock. Oop, I did that, and then I made it go away. All right, here we go. Okay. Are we ready? Fingers ready? Document ready? Ready to roll. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cha-cha. All right. I was like totally into it, so I did not I was not ready with the timer. I was not ready with turning my audio back on. So yeah, there was that. Good. All right, fantastic. How'd you guys do on the last sprint?
Good again.
Yeah. Oh, Michelle's hold on. There you go. Yay. Okay, so how'd
good.
you
Got another 500.
Yay, look at you. Very, very nice. All right, fantastic. What do we have here? Oh, did the timer disappear? What? I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. It's all good. We got our 20 minutes.
Somebody, right? It was running. Where's the timer? Nope. I'm like type. Well, thank God I had it in my head. You guys know I was going to stop you after 20 minutes, which means no doo or anything like that. Just blah, silence, and then me. Okay, very nice. Oh my gosh. And I missed like a whole time. Like, you guys are hilarious. Oh my goodness. No sound. Yes, it was the sensory deprivation chamber. What? I feel like that would be such an awesome thing. I would totally do that. As an Enneagram type 4, INFJ sensory deprivation chambers are like gas chambers to me. No, ma'am. I would love it. I think that's what, like, I take a bath on a regular basis at night in the dark. I literally am in my tub, don't turn the lights on. I just like it to be quiet. I love to hear the water running. I probably would love a sensory deprivation chamber. All right. This is interesting. If my husband goes skydiving with me, then I'll do the sensory deprivation thing, but he has to cave first. Wendy, I feel this is a fair trade. And also, I would like to advise you that when you do go skydiving, be sure to pay the extra $100 for the video because it's worth it. All right. There we go.
Heights. I don't know if I'd go skydiving. I thought it might be an interesting thing to conquer my fear one day, but knowing my luck, it would be the first time and my parachute wouldn't open and end up being the last time.
I am also terrified of heights. I have only, I have only done indoor skydiving. My advice on the video was advice that I gave to my son, who always wanted to skydive. And as soon as he turned 18, he went skydiving with his friends. And I was like, but he loved it. But I did tell him, like, okay, if you're going to go, like, you need to do the video. And he did it. And it's so awesome. And then, like, even though I would never jump out of an airplane and I was terrified that my child would, it was so magical to see how, like, his face was just like pure joy. He loved it. All right. Co says, if I take a bath in the dark, something will show up, and I don't mean goosebumps. Okay. Skydiving is a no for me. Terrified of Heights Club. My husband would 100% do it again, though. Yeah. See, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I like to ski. I did walk a high wire, so like but I'm terrified of heights. Like that was like the biggest thing to try and overcome for me is fear of heights. I'm terrified. Like if I'm like in a building that's really tall, if I'm like at the glass, I feel like I'm gonna fall through the glass and plummet to my death.
I didn't even know until I was older that this is a thing that a lot of people have. I thought I was just a freak. But when I was a kid, I had the opposite fear where I couldn't be at the base of something incredibly tall. Like the first time my family took us to the Smoky Mountains, I got this like intense pressure headache. My eyes like swelled shut. I couldn't get my contacts out, and I had to like duck down in the back of the car, and I couldn't look up at the mountains. But once we were up on top of the mountain, like looking down, it didn't bother
Then you
me.
were fine.
Yeah.
Really? I think you're the first person that I've ever met who has had that experience. But I think there are almost no human experiences that are completely unique. And I'll bet there are lots and lots of people who have that same thing.
There are.
That's
Yeah.
It's a weird one. I don't have it anymore, thankfully, because I love the mountains.
yeah. I grew up around the mountains. I think like I mean, I remember like growing up as a kid having like we had like great views of like Pikes Peak and the Rocky Mountains in my mom's old house in Denver. And yeah, I would not if you could not you literally could not live in Colorado, well, in many places in Colorado because
Yeah,
almost everywhere you can
I
see,
know, and it's
right?
gorgeous.
It is.
I
It's
got over it.
beautiful. Yeah,
I got over it.
that is good.
Well,
But
I
I could
kind of learned that my fear isn't necessarily of height. It's more a fear of being high in an insecure place, because when I was a kid, I was terrified to go on a roller coaster. And then I finally did it, and I kept my eyes closed the entire first time, but I thought, you know what? I survived. I'm going to go on again, and I'm going to keep my eyes open. And then I went on again and again and again, and I said, you know what? I feel secure, and I'm fine with it. But if I
They're
didn't
not
feel secure, I'd be
roller
terrified.
coasters, I think you like build them up in your head,
Yeah.
and then when you get in, you're like, oh. My first roller coaster, I was terrified. My first roller coaster was Space Mountain at Disney World.
Oh, that's a
And
good one.
after I got off that, I was like an addict.
I too am a roller coaster addict. I have like right. So as much as I am terrified of heights, I love and always have loved roller coasters. But my mother loved them, and so I remember like being a pretty little kid and going Space Mountain, and then there was a park by us that had like one of those old wooden roller coasters, which I still love to this day. I think it's my love of clackiness.
Yeah.
But I love that, like that kind of feeling. And I love them. I always have. But if you told me, like, climb to the top of that roller coaster thing or just stand on it, we're going to put you up there in a crane and you could just stand here and here's a platform and it's perfectly safe, I would be like, couldn't do it. But
yeah,
going 70 miles an hour, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's just like such a funny thing. All right, you guys, it's 12:30. I think we could get 12:30 Eastern. We could get another sprint in.
Absolutely.
Which I think we definitely should do. This time, I'd like to try it with a timer. I feel like that would be very exciting. And somebody text me if I screw it up again. I cannot believe I did that. All right. I must have just had the window open and thought it was shared, because I did the whole thing just like it was totally normal for me, but I was not looking at the comments. So anyway, okay, here we go. We are going to do it, and I really mean it this time. We're sprinting in 3, 2, 1, sprint. Sprinting again, but I finished my words. Okay, everybody, we're back, and we had a timer for our last sprint, so I feel like any sort of progress is always exciting. So how did you guys do today? Let us know in the chat how you did, because I think we got an extra sprinted this time. We did a little less
We
talking.
got 3 20 minutes and a 5 minutes. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's really really fantastic. So yeah, so I think you're right. Okay, so how do you guys do? Michelle, I heard you say, did you get your words in today?
I did.
Yay, fantastic. That is
We
awesome.
got, my draft is at 18,000 now.
That is amazing. Story Detective, how did you do?
I've got to have at least close to 1,000, if not a little bit better. So
Very nice. Very nice. I came in with 1786, which I'm very happy with because I was kind of flitting back and forth a little bit. But it just goes to show, like, when you're close to the end of the book, how much smoother and faster it goes. It's like being on a sled.
Mhm.
And you're just hurtling towards the bottom of the mountain. Hopefully, hopefully you're wearing your helmet. All right. So let's look at our chat and see what we've got here. Oop, that's it. No comments? That can't be a thing. That must be like a StreamYard thing. Anyway, so all right, well, we'll just say our outros then. I'm so glad you guys were all here today with us. For some reason, we're not seeing comments. I don't know why. Okay, Wendy says, we are seeing some now. Wendy says, yay, my characters are communicating in this revision and not just screaming and storming out. That's good relationship progress.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Lainey said, such a productive day. Thank you for hosting. You are so welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do our outros, and we'll see if we have any other comments trickle in. There we go. All right. Mary says, keyboard on fire. That's very nice. All right, I have to ask you about this. You guys know I love this keyboard, which Robert totally told me about, and then I had to have it. Also, I think we're like sharing a brain because while you've been posting close-up pictures of your beautiful keyboards on your Instagram, Robert, I have some in the queue. So in like 2 weeks, it's going to look like I'm really copying you. But I just want you to know, same. All right. And yeah. So anyway, so that was it. Here's what I was going to ask you though. I have noticed that my space bar is not like it's not like when I'm typing, it's sometimes not equal to the amount of pressure for the rest of the keys. Does that make sense? So sometimes when I hit the space bar, it's not spacing. Oh, did you know if you hit the space bar, comments will appear or disappear? Look at that. I learn something every single day. All right, there we go. BookTube got us. Felt like a productive session. Yay. I am so glad to hear that. Vixen says, I love a pretty keyboard.
It's a magical space bar. With any type of mechanical keyboard, they come off. If you take like, there's a tool you can do it, or you could take something like a couple of credit cards on each side and kind of pry it and it'll pop up and then put it back on. It could just be that something, jarred loose. If that doesn't fix it, then, could be a deeper issue.
It could be. I don't want to even think about that because you know how much I love this keyboard. I think it just requires slightly more pressure. So I may have to relearn to type because I cannot give up my keyboard. Thank you so much, Lysandra. We are very glad you are here today. All right, you guys, let's quickly do our outros. We will say goodbye to everybody. And don't forget, we will be here one more time. Well, we'll be here every Wednesday for all eternity. But we have one more Wednesday writing sprint for Nano month, which will be next Wednesday, the 30th, same time, same place, 11 a.m. to 1. Michelle, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel before you go.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a young adult and middle grade author, and my channel, which I'm getting back to, I promise, is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Vlogs.
Very nice. Very, very glad. We're so glad you were here today. Story Detective, tell us about you and your awesome channel.
Well, let's see. Since I made some notes on this tagline the other week, I still didn't actually perfect it.
I love that we get to be the test market every week, though. Like we'll know when you get it. All right, I need a drum roll. Here we go.
Let's see. Well, my name is Robert Jones, and my channel is The Story Detective. I've honed my craft of story through words and pictures at Marvel Comics and pretty much every other comic book company out there. And putting various storytelling techniques under a Sherlockian microscope, I break down the craft, find solutions in hopes of making your craft journey easier.
Very, 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 very nice. Good job, Robert. All right, everybody. I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published, now indie published author. And if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is an awesome place to start. I hope you guys will be back with us next week. I love these sprints, especially during Nano, like such good vibes all around. All right, you guys. So thanks so much for being here today. Happy Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble, and all that. And we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.